Welcome to Intellings. Today we're diving into Rural Hours by Harriet Baker, a book that explores how the English countryside shaped three legendary writers, Virginia Woolf, Sylvia Townsend Warner, and Rosamond Lehmann. This isn't your typical romantic countryside story. Baker takes a deep dive into how these women experienced rural life, not always as a peaceful retreat, but sometimes as a source of tension, inspiration, or even isolation. Take Virginia Woolf, for example. In 1917, she moved to Asham House in Sussex to recover from a nervous breakdown. You'd think the countryside would have been a quiet haven for her, right? Not quite. In one diary entry, she wrote, "I detest the country with its birds and its blossoming hedges." Not exactly a love letter to nature. But Baker argues that Woolf's complicated relationship with rural life helped shape some of her most experimental writing, ideas that later found their way into To the Lighthouse and The Waves. Then there's Sylvia Townsend Warner. In 1930, she left London and moved to a tiny cottage in Dorset with her partner, poet Valentine Ackland. But she wasn't your typical countryside recluse. Warner embraced rural life in her own way, redecorating her home with an eccentric flair, writing fiercely independent novels, and welcoming artists and radicals into her home. Baker writes, Warner saw the countryside not as an escape, but as a stage for reinvention. And then we have Rosamond Lehmann. By 1941, she had settled in Berkshire, reeling from heartbreak after her marriage fell apart. She turned to the countryside to rebuild herself, and it deeply influenced her later writing. The Times called Baker's portrayal of Lehmann lively, inspiring, and beautifully crafted. So is Rural Hours worth the read? If you love literary biographies, absolutely. Baker's research is deep, and she paints a vivid picture of how these women interacted with rural life. But if you're looking for a cozy, feel-good countryside memoir, this might not be for you. As Prospect Magazine put it, Baker doesn't romanticize the rural experience. She examines it. And that's what makes this book stand out. Our final score? Rural Hours gets an 8.5 out of 10. It's rich, well-researched, and perfect for readers who love seeing how places shape people. What do you think? Can isolation fuel creativity, or does it just drive people mad?